Hi, Andrew.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine. What about you?
Good, thanks.
Actually, the first question will be, how did you end up in Armenia?
So I was posted here by the Canadian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, so I work at the Embassy of Canada here in Armenia. We just opened an embassy officially in September, I think, and I arrived in August, so I've been here about 8 or 9 months.
How are your expressions from the Armenia?
My experiences in Armenia so far, I mean, we love it. So I'm here with, we arrived with my wife and my young son, and my wife was very pregnant when we arrived, so our daughter was born here in September. So, you know, forever we'll have, regardless of anything, we'll have wonderful memories of Armenia because our daughter was born here. But I'll say that we were 2 years in Nigeria before coming to Armenia, and I love Nigeria. It was a wonderful experience, but it was in some ways much more difficult than living in Armenia. So Armenia, you know, people are wonderful. The city is great. It's a deep and old culture, and so we feel like we can breathe and really enjoy life here.
So you like the culture?
Oh, we love it, yeah. And
what about the weather?
Yeah, the weather, I mean, you know, my home city, Ottawa, the capital of Canada, is quite a cold city. So here it's nice, it's warm, it's pleasant. The city is very green. We love it.
What Armenian words have you already learned?
Oof, not so many. Barevtsiz, merci, but I mean, merci is a French word.
Merci is a French word, yeah.
So not much. I mean, I live my life in English and Russian. I'll be honest with you, and like, I apologize to all my Armenian friends, but I wanted to learn the language, and I looked at the alphabet, and it just made me dizzy. So I think maybe we're going to be here 3 or 4 years. So I think maybe in like, once we're really settled here, maybe in 1 year, I'll go back and try to learn it again.
But it's difficult language, so...
It seems difficult, yeah.
And what Russian swear words have you learned?
Oh, I'm not, no thank you.
No?
No thank you.
No swear words?
None, I only know the nice words.
Okay, and what are your favorite Russian word?
Well, this is the same question as the swear words. My favorite Russian word. Okay, are you going to censor this? Because I'm a diplomat, I shouldn't. Yeah. But like, the word.
It's a swear word.
It's a swear word. I know, but it's like, it's a very, like, in English, this word doesn't exist.
Express all of your feelings.
Yeah. It's a very expressive word. So I don't like to, I hear my wife say this word to me a lot, but I don't swear very much, but this word, it doesn't exist in English, and it means everything.
Yeah. And the next question, how did you get into hockey? So about your childhood, maybe?
Sure, yeah. I mean, you know, Canadian boys, not all, but a lot of Canadian boys, I mean, hockey's a really deep part of our culture. So I learned to skate when I was probably 3 years old, was the first time my parents put me on skates. You know, in a lot of countries, the boys, they go out in the dvor and they play football or whatever. For us, it was hockey in the streets. Every day, every second our parents let us go outside, we were playing hockey in the streets, like with a ball and on the pavement, you know. After school on the weekends, I mean, we would play as much as we could. It's just, we would pretend that we were famous NHL players. We would pretend we were winning the Stanley Cup. So, you know, so from an age before I can even remember, hockey was the most important thing in my life. As a kid, right up until I was, you'd say 15, 16 years old, starting from 4 years old, the dream was to be in the NHL, to be a hockeyist.
Yeah. So you like only hockey, or you can tell us about other sports?
Well, what do you mean tell you about it? Like in my life?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I played American football in high school in Canada and rugby. Sort of like, you know, my generation, I think maybe things have changed a little bit over time, but in my generation, Canadian boys were very attracted to the rough sports. So American football, rugby, hockey, any sports where you're hitting each other.
What is your favorite club in NHL?
I mean, the Senators, it's my home city, so Ottawa. But it makes me sad. They've been so bad for so long. I think I can't remember exactly, but almost 10 years since they made the playoffs. They just had very sadly, their previous owner died a couple of years ago, and so they've gone through some management changes. So the city hopes that with new management and a new maybe some new players. It's a young team now, that the future is bright, but it's a depressing life being a Senators fan.
Yeah, got it. How many countries have you visited?
Oh, I don't know.
It's too many?
Like 40 or 50.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, in this diplomatic life, you have to travel a lot. 40 or 50, but honestly, I don't know the
And what
answer.
is your favorite country?
That's a tough question. I don't think I have one favorite.
Yeah.
Because, one thing I've learned from this career and this life of travel is that every country, every culture, my country included, has its pluses and minuses. Every country has nice people and less nice. Every country has its own deep culture and its problems. So Canada's no different. But I mean, I've had 2 diplomatic postings in Kazakhstan, and I met my wife there. So I think Kazakhstan has really a place in my heart. I have some family roots in Austria, so I really like Austria quite a bit. I mean, of course, not talking about my own country. As far as diplomatic postings go, I think Armenia is probably the nicest place we have lived so far. Like our quality of life here, how much we like the city. So it's not a direct answer, but these are some answers.
So how did you get into the Peppers team? Did you decide to play it for yourself, or did the head coach choose you?
Yeah, so like about 1 year ago, I was still sitting in Nigeria, working at the embassy there. But I knew that I was coming here. And I hoped that there would be hockey here to play. Because for 2 years I missed it in Nigeria because, as you might expect, there's no hockey and no ice in that part of Africa. So for a couple of weeks I was doing internet searching, and finally I found maybe a website or maybe the Instagram page for this league. And I sent a direct message and somebody answered me. Maybe Nikita was the first one. I think you were. I remember your name. Anyway, so he said, yeah, like, come when you arrive, get in touch, and we can talk about everything. So then 1 week after I arrived, I had a coffee with Natalia. Mm-hmm. Natalia, right? Mm-hmm. She explained it all to me, and she said, okay, you can come and do training on this night, and then we'll decide what team to put you on. And so I don't know. I think the league decided which team I was going to play with, and it was fine. I like my team. Everyone is very nice.
What do you think about the league in general? So about the game and the players?
Yeah. It's I have a lot. You're going to have to ask me more specific questions because I think I have a lot to say about this. The Canadian Hockey na Escola compared to in SNG, it's very different. So it's been first of all, I'm an old man now. Let me say this. So I'm 45, and so there's some very good young players in this league. And so for me, I'm just out there to have fun and for exercise, and I can't skate and play like I used to. So there's some great players in this league, and it's hard for me to keep up with some of like these Kuznetsov guys, or like that kid, what's his name, Kovalenka, Valentin. Yeah. So it's a very mixed league, right? There's a few old guys like me, and then there's some really young, talented guys. Anyway, but all that to say that it's really fun. I mean, I really enjoy it. But the first thing I was going to say is that the style of play is so different than we play in Canada that it took me maybe the whole season to like adjust to it and figure out what people are doing.
And what are your plans for the future? Will you stay to play in Armenia or will you go somewhere else?
So my назначение here is 3 or 4 years. So I'll play, I guess, I hope as long as the league keeps me, I'll play 2 more seasons. And then we'll see if I stay for a 4th year here. Yeah, that's it.
Tell us, please, what is the most talented player in AHL and your top 5 of players?
Yeah, okay. Krivich is pretty good. Kovalenko, he drives me crazy. He reminds me of Marchand. Like, he's a good player. I want to punch his face every time we play against him. But he's a good player, and I mean, he plays just like Marchand or like Darcy Tucker, you know what I mean? He does it on purpose, and it's very effective. He annoys the other team.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Krivich, Kovalenko. On our team, Sergei is very good. Young Sergei, not older Sergei. Older Sergei is also good. But
Kudikov, you mean?
Yeah. The Kuznetsov brothers are very, very talented. I forget his name. Is it Tima, our goalie, our goaltender, who is in Omsk now?
Artem Putulyan.
Yeah, he is amazing. He's a very, very good goaltender. Who else is really? I'm sure there's very good players I'm forgetting, but these are the guys that come to mind.
And what about NHL?
You're asking me who are some good players in the NHL? I don't know. I mean, I really like Ovechkin. I like Ovechkin because, he, if I think about the players, again, so I'm from a generation ahead of you, probably. So when I think about the players I loved growing up, it was guys like Cam Neely, Scott Stevens, Wendell Clark. But it was a different era in hockey. So these guys were they scored goals, but they were really tough. They were really aggressive. And so, Ovechkin to me is from another age. He's this type of player because he doesn't need to hit. He doesn't need to play rough, but he loves it. Because he could just go out there and score goals and nobody would ask him anything else. But he loves hitting. He gets in a fight once in a while. This to me is he should have been born Canadian, if you ask me. On Ottawa, we have a few good players. McDavid is probably the best Canadian player out there right now. I don't know. There's so many good players.
Can you name Kovalenko like Marchand the Red? Yeah.
They're very similar, right? There's this type of player that is I don't want to offend anyone personally. I'm not saying this about Valentin, but back when I played hockey, we would call these guys rats because they were just they would just bother you like a rat bothers you. You know what I mean? They would just, that was the whole purpose they were there was to just we say chirp. Do you know the word chirp? Mm-hmm. Just to chirp, talk, poke, and just get a reaction, make the other team angry so the other team doesn't play so well. And it's very effective. If when a guy does this well, the other team gets crazy and they stop playing well.
What do you think? Why is hockey so popular in Canada? So are there physical education lessons at school or no?
So it's 2 different questions. There are physical education lessons at school, but no hockey. Mm-hmm. Hockey is private.
So it's not a subject?
No, hockey is only club. Mm-hmm. It's the parents put their kids in a hockey club, but at school they don't do it. I mean, in high school, some high schools have hockey teams, but in Canada the system is different. So in America, high school hockey can be serious hockey. And by serious hockey, I mean the best players go, in some American states, Minnesota for example, the best players will go into high school hockey before they go to college, or in Canada the best players will play club hockey and then junior hockey, and they get drafted to the NHL out of junior. 2 different systems. But anyway, school hockey in Canada is not serious.
Okay, and why is the hockey the most popular, I suppose, sport in Canada?
Yeah, I mean, every country sort of has their national sport, right? So I think, I'm sure it has a lot to do with the weather in Canada. I mean, my city, Ottawa, is frozen for at least half the year. So if you go back 100 years before there were rinks indoors frozen by electricity, people were just playing outside on frozen lakes and ponds, and it was something that kids could do outside for free on frozen ice. So I think the weather has a lot to do with it.
And I suppose it will be our last question. What lessons or valuable experience have you learned from the time you spent playing in Canada?
What did I learn from hockey?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, so much. So I mean, it's not just hockey. I think all team sports are excellent teachers for all children, boys and girls. You learn about working together as a team. You learn about succeeding and failing together as a team. You learn about not blaming people on your team because you win and you lose together. I think learning to win and lose in the right way is an important lesson for a kid. I guess hockey in particular makes you tough. It's a tough game. You get hit a lot, you get injured a lot. And in the Canadian culture of hockey, this might be unique to Canada, I don't know. But like there's, macho isn't quite the right word, but it's like if you get hurt, you keep playing. If you get cut, you keep playing. If you lose a fight, you keep playing. No matter what, like you go through it. And it teaches you control. It teaches you toughness. I don't know. I would have to really think about it. But like team sports, you learn a lot of lessons from them.
Yeah, thanks a lot. We are so happy that you are playing in our league. Thank you so much for the interview.
Okay. Thank you so much. All right.